Welcome to the Vocal Lab Podcast with your hosts, Shelby Rollins and Jason Catrone, bringing you the best from the music industry. Get ready for first-class conversations packed with exclusive techniques and transformative insights, all designed to help you reach your top note. Welcome to today's podcast. Hello, Shelby.
Hello, Jason.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Fantastic. I think I always say fantastic.
Is that your word?
Yeah, apparently, I think I picked it up in Norway. Norwegians say fantastic a lot.
We talked about one time putting that, we always randomly say, we'll put that on a coffee cup.
Yeah.
One of these days we're going to have merch, and that was one of the
That's one of the sayings,
yeah.
Fantastic. Especially in
I don't know if
the
you can trademark that, but
reaction videos, I say fantastic all the time, right? But we need to get on merch.
we really do.
I think it all the time, but we never do it.
Well, we can't have a business admin meeting right now.
No, that's true, because we have a very special guest here today.
That's right.
We're excited about.
Yes.
My history goes a little back with this lovely one next to me. Everyone say hello to Madison Watkins.
Hi.
Hey, Madison,
everybody.
We go all the way back to Los Angeles.
Los Angeles.
Yes, hey, all the way back. We first met at Jazz Night, I think. Correct, right? They used to have Jazz Night at the W Hotel. It was fantastic. Look, I just said it again. It was amazing, Shelby. It was at the time that the W looked like they've remodeled it since. I haven't been since they've finished it. Have you?
It's amazing.
Is it? So at the time, there was this big glass staircase that came down. There was this big long walkway, and it came down the staircase to the main lobby area that they had tables and seating, and it's every Sunday night they'd have Jazz Night, which was hosted by amazing artist Nikki Leonti, friend of ours, crazy great vocalist.
Yeah, she's insane.
I mean, she is insane. Also written a bunch of great stuff. Like she and her husband have this cool duo. Anyway, she was the host of Jazz Night, and she was known to have famous friends and crazy great singers just get up on stage, and the band was fire, right? And so that's where we first met, because great singers hang around other great singers, right? No, it's true,
what you
right?
did there.
See what I did there?
Yeah.
But it's true, right? Great singers hang around other great singers. And so to me, I think it's singers and artists hang around each other at times, but I do think there is a way at times singers who really sing, I'm talking singing like you do, right? Gravitate together because there is that commonality, right? And you meet each other in sessions and writing sessions and other shows, things like that. But so you were there, we meet, we connect, we do a few sessions. You've done a lot of stuff. I'm going to let you talk about yourself for a minute because I could go on for days, but welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. We filmed it before. Should I bring this up?
Yeah,
I'm
you sure go for it.
We filmed it before, and the audio just didn't work out, so we're back. And I'm just so grateful to be here.
We're going to go even deeper.
Do you know why the
We're gonna
audio
go-
didn't work out last time?
No.
Because your hair.
Oh my gosh, can we make sure that doesn't happen again?
Why are you throwing
No,
her
you're
under
good.
the bus?
No, because she got amazing hair.
It's full of secrets, I think.
Yeah.
It is full of secrets.
It's beautiful.
Thank you. Should I
No,
make
you're great
sure-
now. Last time it
It's
was just covering the
right,
mic.
and it's in the perfect spot.
Is
Yeah.
it? Okay, you guys watch it the whole time, Carlos.
Carlos is on it.
Okay? Because I don't want to ruin it again. So it was my fault. They didn't
No.
tell me that. But now that I know, I'm glad I came back.
You're so mean.
Because imagine if I was just like, their audio guy is horrible. I'm not going back. But it was me. So I'm glad to know that. Yeah, I think for me, I was really young. And I had just moved to LA. I think I was 20 or 21. And I didn't know anybody. And I actually didn't even know if I was that great of a singer. I went there to put myself around better singers. Because my dad always says, if you're around people that are the same level as you, then you need to hang out with somebody that's better than
That's
you.
right.
It's like tennis.
I think it's anything.
Oh, it's true. It is. You're right.
Like,
It is
are
anything.
you on a tennis kick right now? Like, do you want to become better at tennis? Is that your thing?
No, it's just I played tennis growing up, and tennis is a sport that, pickleball, anyone can kind of jump in and play. Right? I think that's why it's one of the reasons it's so popular. Tennis is different because tennis, you have to be in a match or a game with someone who's, let's say, within 5% like better or not as good as you. Because if not, it's not going to be a game. It's just going to be like, psh, and the ball's gone, right?
Yeah.
So, but always finding someone that's 5% better than you makes you better, and you just keep
You
growing like
rise
that
to
through
that
tennis.
level
Yeah,
that
and
you're
it's
around.
incredibly true with artistry and singing.
But it's funny because most singers actually want to be the best around in their peer group. I think there's that level of insecurity that's very rampant in artistry. And so when that happens, you find that people actually don't end up growing past their kind of current level.
Bingo.
So I think it's brilliant that your
Yeah.
dad encouraged you to do that. And it's become very evident that it was beneficial for you because, homegirl can sing the paint off the walls.
Yeah, that's why these walls are white.
She sang all of it off.
There was a color before she.
There was paint in here earlier.
That's crazy.
Okay, but tell us about you. So your
Yeah.
dad, how'd you do that?
Yeah, so I had just moved to LA when I met you, and I didn't know anyone or anything. And I just knew that I wanted to get around people that were better than me, that were in the industry. And I kind of wanted to be like, hi, like, here I am. Like, because I just didn't know. I had dropped out of college and moved to LA, and I had never pursued anything with singing ever. So it was like also new to me. So when I went to
Were
jazz
you in
night,
school for music or?
No.
Yeah, okay.
I was in school for broadcast journalism.
Oh, okay,
Where
cool.
at?
The University of Arkansas.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the only major that was like performing. Everything
right.
else was like, I'm not gonna be like an engineer or
Yeah.
something.
Right, right.
Yeah.
So I just picked the closest thing that I was like, okay, this will help me, talk on camera, whatever.
Sure.
But I wasn't 100% that I was gonna pursue artistry full, like just go for it. And so, but then I did, and I dropped out of college and I moved to LA, and jazz night was one of the first things that I had ever gone to, like even attended. And I remember walking in and talk about being intimidated. At that point, like, I could sing in my hometown of Arkansas, a small town, but I didn't know if I was any good compared to anybody else.
Right.
Well, not only that,
Yeah.
it's like you're in the middle of Hollywood, and everyone in this room is like looking hot. It's a vibe, right? Everything about it is meant to be intimidating.
It's the most LA thing you could do.
Totally.
Yeah.
Even just getting in there past the guys at the front door, it's like, okay, this is the thing. I remember the first night I went to, the same thing. I was like, even though I've been in LA a while, I was like highly intimidated of the room, just people in the room, and I
Yeah.
don't do that. So
Well, because it was like Prince and Justin Bieber and all these people would show up.
yeah.
And you would just be
Wow.
there, like, in the audience, like, okay, like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
Wow.
And a lot of people would know each other, so they're talking, you're just standing around like,
Yeah. So true. It seemed like this little club.
Yeah.
But then, the first time I went, it's intimidating. Then you go back, then you go back, then you go back. Then you start getting asked to sing. And
How did they find out
yeah.
that you sing and that you're full of talent?
I don't really remember. I remember talking to Nikki after and just being like, you are so amazing. Like
You just went up to her.
I think so.
Okay.
And I just was like, I want to be you one day. I probably said something really like cheesy because I was like 20 years old. But she was so sweet to me. And I think she followed me on Instagram. And at that point, I didn't really have that big of a following. I think I was just posting videos of me singing. And I think she saw it. And she was really sweet and just was like, you have an amazing voice.
Did you see a little of yourself in her?
I think so.
Because there's definitely similarities vocally, like just what you can do with your voices,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, still to this day. Now we've become really good friends and we talk all the time. And I think that, like, it's just so cool because I think that a lot of, when I moved to LA, I did see myself in her a lot. And I remember her just being really, I remember we had a really good conversation. I'm like, if she watches this,
We're gonna text her and tell her to watch
yeah,
it.
because
You're like, Nikki, you have to watch this episode.
it's all about you.
And
Yeah.
come be our next guest.
yeah.
A 1,000%. But I remember she just looked me in the eye one time. I don't even know if she remembers this, but she just looked me in the eye and she was like, I think I started dating a guy at the time. And she was like, you don't need to be distracted by a boyfriend. Like, she like went in on me because she has a really cool story and she shares it on her Instagram and stuff. But she went through, a bunch of different relationships and had stuff that really interfered sometimes with her career. And now she's on the other side and like God has completely restored her life and like she's super successful and she's crushing it.
That's awesome.
But I think she was like that, like, stay focused. I'll never forget, because she saw the talent in me, and she saw that I had a similar voice and I was on a similar path to her, and that she had been on whenever she was younger. I mean, she's probably only like 10 years older than me. But yeah, she just really like spoke into me, and I'll never forget that.
Wow.
But
That's amazing.
Yeah, but
she actually introduced us, right? I feel like, if I remember,
I don't remember the second I met you, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, it's been like, well, I'm hurt.
Do you remember
you
the second
don't
you
either.
met me?
Well, I'm trying to remember. I really feel like we met.
He's like, I'm hurt, but has
I know,
no
right?
idea.
He does.
No,
He's
I
like,
feel-
I'm so hurt. I'm like,
I feel like she introduced us after a jazz night.
okay,
Yeah.
maybe.
I feel like that's when we first met.
Yeah. I mean, I
Yeah.
remember being intimidated by you, because I was like, whoa, this like celebrity vocal coach, like.
Okay, now she's making me feel better, you know?
She's trying to make up for
No,
the
I'm
fact
not
that your
making
pride
up
was
for-
wounded.
I'm not making up for it. I just remember like everything was so new to me, and everything was so cool to me, because I literally grew up in Arkansas, in the tiniest town ever.
Yeah.
And then I didn't move to Nashville first, which is a little bit, I moved straight to LA. I was
I
just
did
like,
the same thing.
yeah,
To
and
New York.
It's like a shock. Like you just have to really get used to it. But everything is like cool when you get there. And then over the years it starts to fade, and you're like, okay.
Isn't it funny
Yeah.
how we do that, though? And we're
Totally.
still prone to do it today in certain arenas or situations, right? But when you get back down to it, the reality is, like, everyone, for the most part, again, LA can be a little different. And I think maybe New York or Miami, big cities like that you can really run into some ego. But again, that's anywhere. But by and large, almost everyone you met in LA, me too, they didn't really have ego. I kind of gave them a very inflated version of what I thought they were, or what they did, or what they might be. And at the end of the day, they're like, no, we're just cool. You want to like write a song? You want to hang? You know? But we do that to ourselves all the time.
Yeah.
And again, in LA, I think it's very easy because we grow up watching LA and hearing about LA and everything we do, from movies to TV, all of it. And it does fantasize so much of that stuff, right? So she asked you to sing on Jazz Night, right?
Yeah, and that was really one of the first places in LA that I got on stage.
Okay.
And that I was kind of introduced to the music industry.
Okay.
And I think that it gave me a credibility that
For
after
sure.
that allowed me to start getting in sessions.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to really write a song before I moved to LA. So it was like, that was really the catalyst for a lot of things, because I started meeting people there, and they're like, your voice is crazy. Like, can we start writing songs for your voice? Like, let's do
Songs
this.
for you.
Yeah, let's do like your artistry.
And what was that like? Because I mean, I can imagine if somebody hears you sing and
Yeah.
that is inspiration for them to want to write for you. Like that's kind of, I mean, obviously it's got to feel pretty good, but was that somewhat surreal to be like, you want to write songs for my voice specifically because there's something you hear about me that's special,
Yeah.
right? Versus just a good voice.
Yeah, I think I started realizing like, oh, whoa, like I can hang with these people after Jazz Night. And I think that started, I mean, I still was insecure and wasn't fully confident. Like I feel like I am now in my voice, but it was really cool for me because I was working with some of the biggest songwriters, and they really were. I think the coolest part about it is I didn't realize that I was such a songwriter as well, and I thought I was just a singer. And I think what LA did is it turned me into an artist. And now I love writing songs, and I think that my songs have gotten so much better. Even this past year, I've been working on an album, and I've written 80 songs or more in a year. And it's a lot.
That's a lot.
But I think that those years in LA taught me how to become an artist when I was around those writers, because I remember for the first time I had a writer just look at me and say like, you're a really good songwriter as well, not just a singer. And I was shocked by that because I didn't know if I could really write a song.
Yeah.
I think that's really common with, again, singers, great vocalists. It's so easy. I think we grow up being just always kind of pushed in that corner because you can do anything, right? Growing up, you probably got all the roles at school or church or wherever you were singing growing up. every Christmas you were probably like one of the highlights, correct? Because you could sing it. And so I think it's really important for any artist out there listening to understand that everyone has a primary.
Yeah.
Maybe it's playing piano, maybe
Yeah.
it's singing, maybe it's guitar, maybe it's songwriting. Everyone has a primary. But you really do need to work on the secondary, tertiary on down the list. And that does include writing and maybe playing an instrument.
100%.
Especially in today's world. And I think you would completely agree with that.
Yeah.
You know, our idols, again, Whitney, I know is one of yours, Mariah, Celine, down the list of those 90s divas, they were able to just do that.
Right.
They didn't have to do anything else. The business was different. The world was different.
Their songs are being written for them.
Yeah.
Besides Mariah.
Yeah.
She did write a lot.
Yeah,
but-
true. And today, that has all changed.
Yeah.
It's like you got to do everything, and 90% of the time, you just got to do social media, right?
Don't even get me started on that.
Which honestly is probably part of the reason that we find that there are less big diva voices. You know, one of the contributing factors, at least, is that these artists are being challenged to take up so many other roles to be excellent at, like the instrument, the songwriting, the social media, like just being out there in the public and having an artistry image and all of that. Like, it means that you don't have the same bandwidth and time to lean hard into
No.
vocal training and becoming that type of
That's
singer.
a great point.
You know,
That's an amazing
and that's not to make
Yeah.
excuses for people not training, because obviously we talk about that a lot. But it's just a different era. I
Yeah,
don't think
well,
it's
and I-
bad. It's just different.
True. And I think that's a good question to her. We talked recently on a podcast about the difference in style right now and how, especially with female singers, it's all about a breathy tone and
Yeah.
lighter singing, if
Yeah.
you will, not the big vocals.
Yeah.
But you,
Just wait, guys.
hey, is it coming?
Yes.
Okay.
Bring it.
Just wait.
We
for
are
2025.
ready for it.
Bring it back.
Just wait.
We are ready for it.
Because let me tell you that on the album that I'm making, there's both.
Good.
So I think that as an artist, you have to be able to market like 18 different sides of you. And so like my first single is very breathy, but in parts, when I run and do certain things, you're like, okay, she can sing, obviously.
Yes.
But then like the radio single that'll come after that is like a Whitney song. It's like huge and
Yeah.
like I'm singing my face off. And so I think as an artist now, and I agree with you, I think even for me, those type of songs aren't as popular, right?
Right.
It has to be, you have to do it in such a creative way. And then also, like you said, the splitting your time. For the past 7 years, I have been my own label, even financially. So I created this business system through getting brand deals, and I would put that money back into my artistry like a label would.
Like
Yeah.
social media brand deals. Yeah.
And so
Was that around your voice? Was that around your person, your hair?
everything, yeah. I've worked with amazing brands. Like I worked with Aussie Hair Care. I was the face of them for like a
that's
year. I worked with Puma. I've done like
That's cool.
Did you have a
hair,
brand
makeup.
manager, or were you
I
just out
do.
there hustling?
I still do. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I have a brand manager. But with that being said, I had to put my time into everything but my voice in
Sure.
a lot of ways, which I think now I'm getting to the point. It's funny now that I have like this big team around me. Now I'm like, oh, now I can focus on my voice. But for the past 7 years, I haven't been able to.
It's wild. It's a
Yeah.
different world. Catch us up though in that 7 years. So from starting to perform at Jazz Night, starting to get into better writing rooms and things like that, to sort of present day. Give us sort of the timeline.
Yeah, I mean, I tell everybody that this is like a 10-year business. And if you
Right.
don't want to spend 10 years as an artist to be successful, then you're not going to be successful.
Right.
And it's so funny because I was on American Idol a couple years ago, and a casting director called me the other day for this other opportunity, and he was like, wow, Mads, like you've really stuck it out. And I'm like, yeah, because for me, I think in the next couple years next year is my 10th year. And I think it's gonna be one of my best years. No pressure. But I think that the next couple years, all the 10,000 hours I put in. So the timeline is I moved to Los Angeles, and really, yeah, for the first 3 years, I really just was like open mic, grinding it out, getting in sessions, like getting my name out there in ways. Started growing my social media, started doing TikTok, started doing Instagram, all these different things. And then the other like 4 years is whenever I feel like I got out there. I was on American Idol. I started releasing albums, started releasing music videos. I started doing shows. And so it's just been this process. I also got to do a lot of like really cool national anthems. I think that was something that has weirdly grown my career.
Sure.
What was your favorite national anthem performance?
Yeah, I was going to say probably the World Series last year. And that was, I think the reason why I like that is because it's different than football. I've done about like every NFL team, every NBA team, but baseball is so different because, well, the World Series is a lot of pressure. And like, I weirdly love a lot of pressure. And maybe we all do as singers. I don't know. Like, if it's like a time crunch and there's like stress, like with performing, I like thrive in those situations. Sure. So I think it was the most like nerve-wracking situation I've been in because it's like 11 million people watch it.
Wow.
My microphone like went out like seconds before I started singing, but then it came right back on. So it was like all these different things happened. Yeah, and it was super fun. But I just think like it's been so cool to see how each year my career has grown, but at a really steady pace. And I remember one of my friends in LA who's like a huge YouTuber, like everybody knows her. When I first moved to LA, she was like, Madison, try to not blow up overnight. Like, because she was like, I know that like you could get here, you could like pop off and do one song, whatever. But she's like, you are the type of artist, and I didn't tell her this, but because I always remember that she's like, you're the type of artist that if you grow slow, then you will never not have a career.
That's true.
And I have seen that with my career every single year. Like I have gone. My fan base, I mean, literally people come up to me all the time and say, I've been following you for 8 years on Instagram. And like, I'll never not be your fan. But because they saw me when I had like 5,000 followers and they've been with me through the whole thing.
Yeah. You've done that, the real work of growing that know, like, and trust factor with your audience over the course of time. And people don't just blindly trust somebody straight out of the gate. They can admire and be a fair weather fan straight out of the gate because they're impressed by talent. But to really draw people in for the long game takes the nurturing of your audience, which literally only happens over time. It's just the only way because you have to show yourself consistent and faithful to them. You know, it's like any relationship, but that's such brilliant advice. Because,
it's brilliant advice.
Yeah, and I think most people don't love to hear that because we're in the microwave society. We want things fast.
Totally, and we all want that viral moment.
Yeah,
everyone does.
Like, I can't tell you how tired I am of the word viral.
Everyone
like
is.
Every influencer right now on like Instagram, because I'll follow like different like fashion. It's usually like mom fashion, which is like, tell me you're 40 and have small children without telling me you're 40 and small children. Look at my Instagram follows that on my personal account. And it's like all these women that are like fashion for less, you know, it's like, look at this dupe from Target that looks like Lululemon or whatever. And everybody's like, oh my gosh. But they always say this viral sweatshirt, this viral blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, can we stop?
Yeah.
Because we're all obsessed with the thing in the moment that's going to capture the attention. And then it's gone, right? And so to your point, and what the advice that she gave you is so profound, and the thing that most immature people probably don't want to hear, but is necessary to hear, is play the long game or get out of the game.
Yeah, that is so true. And I think to all of that as well, and to your credit, Madison, like, it's cool to see how you were, even though you said you feel like you had a 7-year break from your voice, like, music was still always a part of the fiber of you introducing yourself to people through social media, even though you're doing brand deals and silly stuff and all of it. Yeah. Doing the shows, whatever. People immediately have always been able to know that you are a singer, and it's the biggest part of who you are, even if you take these little breaks. And so
but you're still singing in that whole time.
Totally. And I think we're also in this place of don't know how you feel about this, but I do know people are also getting very tired of the word influencer, and they're getting tired of influencers. I just went to the Hamptons Classic this summer for the first time ever, a horse show, and there was
Big
a
horse
day.
guy over here.
There was a day that
I didn't know that
Yeah,
about
I
you.
love
Oh,
horses.
really?
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. My friends at Longines, shout out Longines, brought me up
Because he's
to
looking for a brand deal.
yeah. Brought me up.
Longines.
Yeah, they brought me up for the Hamptons Classic. I'd never been, so I'm there. And
That's cool.
Saturday was influencer day, and everyone, all the brands.
I bet that was a weird day.
It was, and I can just say there was a buzz of not everyone loving it, but it was something they knew they had to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so to you to speak into that, like, how have you found, because I think it's great advice for people who are watching or listening that are dreaming of their own careers or their own pathways to what they want to do, that may be stressed about being a quote unquote influencer and doing brand deals, all that, or maybe thinking this is just the way I have to make it happen. Like, what's some advice maybe you could give them on how to balance that and not just make it about, just about your hair or your pretty face or your abs or, I mean, let's be fair. That's most of Instagram today is
Yeah.
people's cleavage or their abs.
Yeah.
And then you look and they got 14 million followers. It's like, never heard of this person, but I can see their abs.
Yep.
Well, and that's the thing. So, what's a specific question? Just again for.
Oh, well, like how did you manage the balance of,
Both of those worlds.
both of those worlds and finding a positive creative angle to keep pushing deeper into it?
Yeah. I think I never put a label on myself.
Cool.
I never tried to be an influencer. I never tried to come across as a singer. I just think I tried to be authentic. And I know everyone says that, but if people could just understand that just every single person is so unique. So and that's why the music industry, there's no rhyme or reason why this person does well, but I think there is. And I think it's people see genuine people. And I think that when you see a genuine person, it's attractive to you because you want to be more genuine. So I think I just have always been myself, whether I'm singing online, and I've had amazing viral moments, but it really hasn't done a lot for my career. The thing that has and so just to take the pressure, I have this viral TikTok sound that's the Mariah Carey sound where I'm singing All I Want for Christmas Is You, and
I remember that.
yeah, I'm not gonna, and every single year it's still more and more viral, 11 million views,
crazy.
yeah.
Wow.
And every celebrity has used it, but it hasn't done a lot for my career like people would think. What has done the most for my career is showing up every day and being myself and being consistent, and it is the long game.
So good.
Yeah.
People, and this is what I would also say, do the work outside of your Instagram. Do things that nobody sees.
Yes.
For me, I
like that.
I am 1% of my life is on Instagram.
Right.
But people don't see that I literally wrote 80 songs this year. Nobody knows that. No one will know that except the people that listen.
Yeah.
But I worked my butt off. We only picked 13 songs out of 80 songs. People might not hear any of those songs. But I was in the studio this year for 365 days, working my butt off, new songs every single, 1 or 2 songs every single day. And I think it's just you have to love what you're doing so much that it doesn't matter if anyone on Instagram sees it.
Yeah.
Bingo.
And I think that
Yes.
next year, for example, I just posted, I did my first acting role. And people don't know that for the past 5 years, that's been a dream of mine. I haven't really told anybody that, but
I saw you posting about that.
yeah, but
Super cool.
I've been working behind the scenes on my acting, and I've been focusing on that. I think it's all the things that people don't see, but then what I think is next year, everyone's gonna see this whole body of work, right? And I'm gonna come out with all these music videos, and I'm gonna be on tour and do all these different things. People are gonna be like, wow, she just really
popped
Blew
She was
up.
like, she popped off out of
Yeah.
nowhere. Like people,
Nope,
especially
sure
that don't
didn't.
haven't
Yeah.
been following me, like
Right.
when
Sure.
I have my first radio single that'll come out, and all these different things. People are gonna be like, well, dang, they don't know that I've been working for 10 years.
Exactly.
Right.
That's why there's no such thing as this overnight success. Like that's just
Yeah.
your vantage point because now you've done all that work to get in front of a larger audience. But unless you
Yeah.
had done that, that wouldn't have happened. And to your point of doing the things that nobody sees, I mean, and that's all of life, right? Like nobody sees when you get up early and you grind it out, whether that's your job or your family and taking care of your kids or your
Yeah.
pets or your friends. And like, when you've got a friend down in the dumps and you stop everything to go and you be with
Yeah.
that person,
Yeah.
people don't see that because it's weird to show that off, right?
Yeah.
It seems incredibly self-aggrandizing
Mm-hmm.
and disingenuous. And so when you're authentic to that point, a lot of times you don't see that B-roll, all you're seeing is the highlight reel, and that's everything in social media, and that is what it is. We all just need a better perspective on it, but that is the thing, and that's what I was saying. Like, if you're not in it for the long game, get out of the game. And again, if you don't love the game,
Get out of the game.
get out. If you don't love the work that nobody sees, get out.
I've said
Find
this.
something else.
I've said this multiple times in multiple different arenas. One of the greatest frustrations I see today in the world of music is that everyone wants to do it, and because it's so easy now to make a song in your bedroom and just upload it to streaming services, everyone has access, and
Which is
just
beautiful.
It's beautiful,
Yep.
but it also creates noise, and it limits or inhibits. Let's use the word inhibits. Great music from finding its way faster or even at all, because there's just so much noise now, and like, how do you find your way through that?
But
And
I think it's the last man standing. Like,
Totally.
agreed. I
I
agree.
think
You
that's-
don't give up.
Yeah,
You don't give
I
up.
think because eventually, like I think about this next year when a lot of new people are going to discover my music, they're going to go back and listen to every song I've ever put out.
Yeah.
Sure.
And I think the highest I was at was like maybe 250,000 monthlies, like before I took
Streaming?
a break. Yes, like monthly.
Which is still really
on
big.
Spotify.
I mean,
Yeah.
for
Yes.
an independent artist.
1,000%.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
I had like a full career, but all those people, whenever I have all this new audience that comes, like they'll all go back and listen to all the other songs. It always pays off in the end.
Right.
Totally.
But it's the last man standing. And that's what I told that casting director, because he just was like, you have not only not given up, but like my work ethic hasn't changed. I have been consistent for 10 years. I haven't been like, oh, this week I'm just gonna do nothing. I mean, I take breaks and I rest, but it's like it's little by little. And I don't think, it's like working out. You can't go work out once a bunch of heavy weights. You have to do it for a year.
Yep.
And then you're like, oh, I see the abs or whatever it is
Yeah.
you want. But it's the same with the business. And probably you guys see this in your vocal students. It's like, it takes time to get better at singing.
Of
Yeah,
course,
it
it's
does.
meant to.
Everybody's obsessed with getting like the quick fix and the hacks. And Brett, our mentor, one of his sayings, he was a man full of sayings. He is.
I know, I was
He
like,
would
did
say,
he pass away?
no. Brett is alive and well. Sorry.
No, I literally was like,
Wrong verb.
Brett, are you okay?
One of his sayings that I've always loved is amateurs take tips, pros train. And I love that.
That is really
I
good.
borrow that all the time and
I don't
give
think
him
I've heard
credit.
him say
but-
that. That's
oh,
really good.
What do
One
you
of my
mean
favorites.
by that? Because like, I
So,
feel like
like,
I still take tips every day.
I think it's the overall concept is that an amateur is only going to take a few tips.
Like,
and
give
look
me
for
the quick
hacks. Give me that
fix.
free
Oh.
YouTube video. You know,
yeah.
that quick free video.
Yeah.
On
I got this
Instagram or
audition
whatever.
for American Idol. I can do a session with you. Can you help me? And that's
Yeah,
all they
that.
put in, right?
But
Give me
a
that quick tip
pro
before.
will train. They are in it.
The pro's ready
and
for
we
the
always
moment.
come back to athletes, right?
Yeah.
Athletes understand this on a level that artists typically do not. Is you can't just take a couple tips on how to be a great basketball player and end up in the NBA.
Right.
You've got to work your whole life and train like a pro if you want to be a pro.
And I think
that's
the overriding message I keep hearing from you is you've been doing that and you're
Yeah.
ready for your moment.
Yeah.
And you're ready to step into what's next.
Yeah.
Right? And now you've got the music and the movie and all the components that go along with that ready to go into next year. talk to us, one, like how you got to Nashville, because you're here now,
Yeah.
right? And I think, didn't we run into each
We're
other?
here.
We were, yeah, right? Because I moved back before, but we ran into each other the first day you gotten back, I think, right?
Was that at Soho?
At Soho House.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're like, Jason, what are you doing? You didn't even know I lived here yet.
No, I didn't.
You're like, what are you doing here? I'm like, I live here. What are you doing here? And you're like, I just moved here today. I'm like,
so funny.
what?
I
That
did
is
just move there that
crazy.
day.
Yeah.
I did just move there that day. Yeah. I mean,
What brought you here?
yeah.
And obviously we know, and we want everyone to know, like, moving here was a big pivotal moment to what's getting ready to happen in your career, right? So
Yeah.
tell everyone about that, because
Yeah.
it's really cool.
Yeah, I was in LA for like 7, almost 8 years. And I just call those years my years of training, because I went through like everything that you could possibly go through, good, bad, and ugly.
Same.
And, yeah, and I think that like LA is such a great town if like you really want to know if this is for you. And also if you want to become the best that you could possibly be.
I say that about New York.
About New York.
I lived there for a long time, and so it's very similar and different, but similar in how it creates that. You know, it does that. To
I
people.
think both those cities are like, they are incubators for what you want to do, just like a Nashville is. But those two cities specifically also are pressure cookers.
They'll
They're
chew you out and
pressure.
spit you
Right?
out.
There's
Yeah.
pressure. Yeah, I
Yes.
think Nashville. So I think that, yeah, you get like cooked really quickly in LA.
Maybe
and
burnt.
No, literally, I
little
feel
crispy.
like I'm still
Yeah.
in my 20s, but I like literally feel like I'm like in my 50s
Yeah.
right now, because like not like body wise, but like knowledge.
Yeah,
and
sure.
just like I talk to people my age, and I'm like, oh, like LA like really cooked me.
Yeah.
Because
Totally.
not even just in my career, but even socially and being street smart and just things that happen, like it's just wild. Like you have to literally grow up. And when I
do.
moved there, like I was 20 and like I
You do.
couldn't even have a sip of alcohol. I wasn't even old enough to drink
Yeah.
yet.
Yeah.
And it just like grew me up. But what was really cool is it's cool now, but like I guess a year and a half ago, I really just had like a mental breakdown. And I think I just come to this point where LA wasn't serving me anymore. And I believe it was just God's time for me to move on. And honestly, I think it was, like you said, it was my time to kind of, I think I've been hidden for the past like 7 years and really like being cooked.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest thing ever is that was being cooked was my character.
Totally.
Because
Yeah.
now, if and when my life changes, I'll be ready for it. But basically, I took a break, and I just was like, I don't even know if I want to do this anymore, because it just was beating me down so much. So I really did just step away, and I was like, okay, well, we'll see. And I just took about 6 months off. And then at the end of that 6 months, I ran into a friend in LA, and he was just like, what's going on with your career and stuff? And I think for me too, a big part of who I am is my faith. And I think in LA, I just felt like I always had to hide that because it wasn't celebrated. And I never got to write about that. I never got to talk about that because it wasn't trending. It wasn't viral. It wasn't cool. It wasn't all these things that would make me successful.
Yeah.
But it was really where my heart was at. And I really wanted to talk about it. I wanted to talk about everything. Like continue just talking about like my ex-boyfriends and love and all these things. But I also wanted to talk about my faith. But I felt like it just never was celebrated. So I told my friend, I really want to, get back to writing, but I want to write like these type of songs about this. And he was like, I really feel like you should just like go to Nashville and you should do some writing. And so, in a long story short, I got connected to people here through all different ways. And I just came here for a trip just to visit. And on that trip, I not only wrote like some of my favorite songs, but Sony heard that I was in town and they asked to just meet me. Like they were like, we just want to meet up with you, whatever. And in my head, I had done a record deal before with Universal, and it was a small like EP deal. And I was like, I just don't know if I want to do that again. It wasn't my favorite thing, and it wasn't like the best fit. But then I met with the team here, and I shared my vision, and we had the same exact vision for my career. Not even just for their company, because you go into companies, they're like, this is our vision.
Yeah.
But they were like, we're looking for an artist like X, Y, and Z, and I was looking for a label that was X, Y, and Z, and we both, it was the perfect fit.
Yeah.
And so after that, I remember I just was like, am I supposed to move to Nashville? And I remember always saying, I'm never moving to Nashville.
I said that too.
Everyone says that here.
Totally said
Especially
that.
if you lived in New York or LA, you're like, it seems like this, like, we talked about this on the last podcast, like a lesser than for some reason, which now I'm like, it's better than both of those cities to me.
Yeah.
Because
I agree.
So I have gotten so much more done in a healthy way here than I ever did in LA.
Yes.
Yeah. So then I moved here, and 5 days in, I got offered a record deal, and
Incredible.
That was 1 year ago, and now I've written an entire album. And actually, it wasn't a year ago. I only signed in May. A year ago is when I visited. So yeah, I've done a whole album, and it'll release next.
That is so crazy.
January 24th, 2025 is my first single.
That's right around the corner.
A couple months away. Yeah.
So cool.
Tell us about the single, because that's going to be here.
Yes.
If you can.
Yeah, of course. I haven't announced anything yet. When does this come out, by the way?
I don't know.
It'll be...
Whenever you want.
Whenever you want.
Okay. Well, I can just say it, and then we can maybe plan it around the
Yeah.
time. But my single is called Spin, and yeah, it'll come out January 24th. And it is the most unique song I've ever written, and it's my favorite song that I've ever written, because
That's awesome.
because it's so unique, and I haven't heard a lot like it. I say it's like the anti-anxiety song. You listen to it and you really feel like, not even just with the words or my voice, the music, you're like, like you can take a breath.
Yeah.
Wow.
Peace.
Oh my goodness, like you've never felt.
That's
I
amazing.
would like to listen to it right now.
I know,
Yes, and I think people are gonna listen to it on repeat. I think it's gonna be a song that people just hit repeat just to calm their nervous system.
Was that the
down.
intention with
great.
the song, or that's just what it became?
No, so I went to Italy a couple months ago, and I got back, and Ricky Jackson, who's one of my favorite writers that I work with, he's done like all the Katy Perry stuff. He's worked with the biggest artists in the world. He's amazing, but he's so humble, and he challenges artists. And we get in the studio, it was like the day after I got back from Italy, and I'm like, I want to write about this. And he literally looks at me and he's like, you can do better than that. And I love that, because I'm like a challenger. And I was like, what do you mean? And he was like, what did you feel when you were on that boat a couple of days ago in Italy? How did you feel?
I would have been like, I puked, because that did happen.
You puked on it.
Oh my gosh.
You puked on a boat in Italy?
Yeah, my friend's like wedding, we did like, this is such a side note that I just interjected into your amazing story, but 2 years
I
ago,
am so sorry.
We're
2
used
years
to
ago,
that,
my
Jason.
best friend Ren gets married in Amalfi Coast.
Yeah, that's where I
you
was.
were, right?
Yeah.
So we took the boat to Capri one day, right?
Uh-huh.
And
Oh
there
my
was
gosh.
like 75 people
Amazing.
in this wedding. So we had like, I think we had like 8 boats. Most of them were, just like small-ish.
Yeah.
Compared to the big one that all the family members were on,
Yeah,
like all the
like
older
little
people.
dinghies.
Yeah. So each one of the smaller boats had like, 7, 8 people. And then the big one had like 20. Again, all
Like
the
a
family
yacht.
members. Yeah.
Yeah.
All the family members. So I'm great. I've taken the medicine. I've come down this mountain, because we were in Ravello up in the mountain. We come down on the bus. I sit up front so I don't get sick on the bus. And like I make it. Whew, this is good. Get in the boat. Go all the way over. We get right to the edge of the island, and they stop and let you see the blue grottos, right? So you look at the water. And as soon as we stop, and I've been great. I'm like, this is amazing. I can ride in boats now. And as soon as we stop, and it's just so pretty, and we're taking pictures, and everyone's like, oh, wow, look. I mean, within seconds, the stop and the motion, I'm like, y'all got to start this boat. So they start the boat. We go through. What's the big thing you drive through that's like the 2 kisses?
rock thing?
Yeah, the rock
Yeah,
thing. You
yeah,
go through
yeah.
it. You're supposed to kiss underneath the rock. So
Who did you kiss?
my best friend, Bethany.
I was
Yeah.
like, did
Was
you?
this before or after puking?
I know that's
No, this
what
was
I,
before,
That's
no.
what I was gonna
Poor
say.
Bethany.
I'm feeling better because the boat's going, right? But we get through this rock, and I'm like, oh gosh, I'm getting sick again. Well, at this point, they stop the boat so we can swim for like 20 minutes before we go onto the island, have lunch, blah, blah. So, I mean, as soon as we stop the boat, I'm like, and the captain sees, he's like, get in the water now, get in the water. So I'm like, and I don't like cold water, it's ice cold. It's like October. So I jump in and instantaneously just feel incredible. It's cold and like the sickness is gone.
He knew.
He knew. So I'm just sitting in there and it's great. And so then after about 20 minutes swimming, it's like, okay, we go. So get back in the boat. As soon as I get in this boat, I sit down and I just feel it again. I'm like, oh my gosh. And at this point, I'm like, I'm losing it. And so we had just had lunch not long before, or not lunch, we had like a snack. And so I'm like, Bethany sees me and she's like, get to the side now. I run to the side. And as soon as I do, I hear all these people going, look over here. And it was the boat of all the family members. And they're all with their cameras wanting to take a picture of our boat. And I'm just like, bleh. And
Oh my gosh.
yeah, pictures, video.
And everyone took pictures of you puking.
Yeah, and then they're all like, what? I felt better though.
Well, at least there's that.
Yeah. And I did great on the way back home. I just had to get it out.
Whenever my single comes out,
Yes.
I want you to post one of the pictures of you throwing up and put the song over it. Because
Definitely.
that's perfect. That's all
Yeah.
you needed in the moment.
Yeah,
Well,
definitely.
I set the scene. You know how it is. But we were just looking at the Amalfi, or we were just looking at Positano.
Yeah.
And
Stunning.
yeah, he just told me like, what did you feel? And I just explained to him. And we wrote after that. And at the end, I actually put one of the clips of me on the boat. I'm saying, ciao bella. And then I'm like, I love you. And you hear water splashing. And we put the sound clip from the video at the end of the song.
Oh, cool.
Oh,
So
that's
it's
cool.
really like stamped with that moment. But that's what the song is about. And it's just, yeah, I'm so excited to see people's reactions to it because every time I even turn on the intro, people are like, ooh. They're like, I really like this. Like, they just want to continue to listen to it. So
That's really cool. I love how it feels like the theme of a lot of what you're sharing is about the inner work, the stuff that nobody sees, and playing the long game, so that you can have the moment that you have worked towards, while also knowing that it wasn't really ever about the moment, and there's never a point of arrival either. It truly, it sounds so cliche, but it is the journey.
It
right?
is.
And I've heard people talk about, my business coach talks about this, where whatever opportunities that you have in front of you right now, present day, whoever you are, wherever you are the right opportunities for you today. Because the thing that you really want, you haven't become the person yet who is able to walk through that door. And so if you want to get to that, you got to become the 10.0 version of you so that you can have the capacity to handle what's on the other side of that. Obviously, we've seen people who had quick success that is very detrimental to their overall humanity. I think Justin Bieber is an amazing example of this, right? And he talks about it a lot of, man, had incredible opportunities at a very, very young age. And just the reality of like, there are things that we're not ready for, that you want, but you're not ready for. I mean, I literally talked to my oldest child about this, about, middle school, wants a phone. We're not doing that yet. And I'm literally, kids your age are not wired yet to be able to handle this technology responsibly.
We're
So
not.
it's not seriously,
Sure.
it's not your fault that you're going to get obsessed with like a screen because you're not mentally capable of understanding this yet. And so
That's a good mom.
realizing, hey, thanks, God, ain't for the faint of heart, but realizing that if the thing that you really, really want isn't here yet, it might be because you're still becoming the person that you need to become to handle the opportunities that are for you in the future.
I love that.
Yeah.
And also another really good example right now in society is Sabrina Carpenter. She's been in the business and she was literally like 10 years old.
Yeah.
She was on all the different shows. She's been putting out records for 10 years, but people didn't listen to them. I mean,
At all. They didn't.
look at her now. And then she talks about that. I heard a podcast the other day that she was talking. She's been in it way longer than 10 years. She's been in it for probably 20 years.
How old is she?
She's 22, 21 maybe. She's really young. But she started when she was really young.
Got it.
And yeah, I'm like, I don't even know when she first started, because I know she started getting like acting stuff. But really, it's been 10, 15 years. And then now the world is hearing her music. And she talks about her mom telling her that, like, you are the tortoise in the story. Like, you're not the hare. Like, you gotta just... And I feel the same way about myself. I feel like that I have put in the work. And it was funny because my manager called me a couple days ago because we had this big meeting with Sony, like Sony Nashville, like the big Sony whatever. And it was very honoring because the president of Sony listened to what will be my radio single. And he just was freaking out. He was like, I'm obsessed with this song. Like, in the bathroom, he went and told somebody, like, just funny things. And my manager called me, and he was like, how does that make you feel? And he was like, doesn't that make you excited? And I'm like, yeah, I mean, that's great. But at this point in my career, like, nothing really affects me up or down anymore. And I think that's where...
That's so...
Yeah,
amazing.
I think I feel ready for this because that's great that he liked it. I'm super honored you like the song. Doesn't really mean anything yet.
Yeah.
And like, I'm so grateful. But for me, I'm also focused on like, does the audience like this song?
Right.
Do I like this song? Do I want to sing this song the rest of my career? And also like, you know, it's all these talks about like, this could do this could do this. And that's great. But I'm not gonna like get all excited or get really sad about anything, because I just learned in this business, like, when you do that or you do like it's high highs and low lows. And I feel like as an artist, I've matured and my character's gotten a lot more strong to where it's like, I'm gonna be so happy if that song went number one. That would be so, and I would literally have a party and we would all be so grateful. But at the same time, if it doesn't, okay. Yeah. Like, I just think I'm in this place in my career where I'm really so steady to where not one opportunity or one opportunity I don't get is going to affect me.
Yeah.
Sure.
I'm on the course. And I think when you're in it for this long, that's what it teaches you is like, you can, because I was on American Idol and the whole world was watching me. And it was great. But I think it taught me, like, you can't, like, these super high highs, and then after that, no one cares about you. Super low lows. Like, you have to be so steady in who you are and your artistry. And if you like yourself, and if you like your character, and if you like your work ethic and your songs, rather than, because everybody's going to say everything they want.
Yeah.
But you have to be so confident in yourself that you can be so steady that when you win the Grammy, you're so grateful and you're so excited. But if you don't, it's fine.
Yeah. There's this amazing book I've read called, I think this is the correct title, Handling the Rejection and Praise of Man. And it's literally about both sides of that, either being, totally rejected and it makes you kind of insecure, or the being overly praised and how that inflates us. And it's like, they're very like almost two sides of the same coin. You have to be able to handle both, not just get over it when someone rejects you, but not be influenced on the other side. And I think that's just what that reminds me of.
Yeah.
Right?
I think it's important to that point to always be aware that you're going to face both. I think as artists, by and large, you focus on the highs and you dream of the highs, right? You dream of the Grammy, you dream of the number one, you dream of the big stage of 20,000 fans in front of you. Most people don't think about the mids, especially because that's just kind of the mundane everyday. We just kind of go through that. We definitely don't think about the lows, right? And everyone has to be aware, I think, in any facet of life that I may have said this recently to you guys, there are few people in history that have one name that we still talk about today. There are very few.
Oh, you mean like Bono, Madonna, one-namers? Is that what you mean?
Martin Luther King.
Not even. I'm going to go with that. I'm going to go with, Jesus.
Oh, I thought you meant like they literally have one name, not
Well,
you don't know their last name.
No, I mean they could. Abraham Lincoln. There's one that has two names.
Yeah.
These are historical figures that will forever be talked about.
Yeah.
There are we'd probably have a hard time naming 10 of them right now. And so for me, at any capacity of my life,
That's cool.
I'm
It's
not saying,
perspective.
yeah, it's perspective. It's like, don't stop dreaming for the grand and the big and for being something that can be a world changer. I'm a big fan of world changers.
Yeah.
But don't, like Quincy Jones just passed. That was a true world changer in music. Like his stamp on popular music is forever synonymous with Michael and Frank and everyone anywhere around that space. And so, but is Quincy Jones going to be a name that people talk about 100 years from now? Like collectively as people around the
No.
world? No. Abraham Lincoln, yes. So it's like you can achieve really great things, but keep the perspective of there are going to be highs, lows, mids, and to what you're saying, this is the fiber I think you've carried through this whole podcast today, is just like dream big, put yourself out there, go in the motion and in the direction of where you want to be, and surround yourself with people who are doing big things in that arena. And have a long game mentality. Don't give up. Just keep growing, dreaming, believing, being a good human.
And do it because you love it.
And do it because you love
joy.
it.
Because I do think that, to your point, there's so few people that you're going to know their name for generations and generations. But everybody has equal value to humanity. And we all doing the real stuff that 99% is goes unseen by at least to the masses. Your family sees, your friends see, and that's what changes the world.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And we can, and that's a great point. We can all be world changers in our
Right.
own realms, and we should be.
Yeah.
It's not that we can be, we should be.
Yeah.
Through our
Yeah.
music, through our coaching, through our just relationship building and hanging out at a Soho house, and like there you are,
Totally.
like first day back in town. Like
Yeah.
it's not like you and I had this like really close friendship for years.
Yeah.
We stayed connected,
Yeah.
right? Stayed aware of what you're doing, things like
Yeah.
that. But
It's beautiful.
and it was so beautiful because there you were, and both big smiles on our faces.
Yeah.
Right? It felt so
I feel like I'd
honest and-
seen someone that
I know.
like I'm like my LA people.
It was like
Yeah.
really fun and tender.
It
and,
was.
and a meaningful moment for me in that moment
Yeah,
too,
me
as well. It's
too.
like
Me too.
that's what it's all about.
It is.
You know?
And like talk about Jesus, like people, I mean, he had the best model of changing the world. He started with 12 people.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you can start, if Jesus can start with 12 people and change the entire world and create a movement,
Right.
you just need to start with your family or
That's right.
your friends or
Yeah.
or if you have a small, I think that's something right now that I want to tell creators that have 100 followers on Instagram or 1,000 followers. It's like, imagine if
Just look
100
at Carlos. That's him.
people. You're so mean.
We throw each under the bus all the time.
But it's like if 100 people showed up to your house and you had to give a talk, that's like a lot of people.
Yeah, it is.
And
Right.
that's who you're talking to on Instagram every day. 100,000 people, subscribers, like that's a lot of people. And so I think in our day and age, we've lost touch of how many followers mean a certain thing. If you can impact one person, and I say that all the time, and I know people say that, but genuinely, I know in my career, if I were to die tomorrow, I've impacted, I know I can
Yes.
name girls that I've impacted that now they want to be a singer, or
Yeah.
now they wear their hair curly, or now they have a relationship with God.
Yeah.
Things that matter to me, I have impacted these people in my life, and I can name the few, but those people are going to go tell more people, and those people are going to go tell more people. So we just have to really step back and look at the small and the daily things in our life, or the lady at the grocery store that you smile at, or the person that you impacted. Like, you have no idea what that impact is going to do.
Yeah. And that's
So
what we're all
I
here
agree
for.
with you. Yeah, like that's what we're here for. Like
is.
it's great to dream big, but at the same time, the people that have the things that you want, 99.9% of the time are not even happy. You probably have a happier life than them. Like if you want to be a celebrity, like those people have so much responsibility and so much that their life is literally in front of everyone in the world. And what a blessing that you don't have paparazzi at your house
Yeah,
every morning.
right.
It seems
Gosh.
cool. until you have a friend that's going through that, or if you've experienced it yourself, whatever. It's like we don't realize how blessed we are until we really just like step back. And I think social media makes us so, what's the word? Like envious. And it makes us so, like gluttonous of like just everything. Like food, travel, like how you look, like all the things. And if you actually were just off that and didn't compare your life, like I think a lot of us would be so happy.
We definitely would.
That's why we all need digital detoxes.
Yeah, because you go to Africa to a village that they don't have any screens. These are the happiest kids, and they can't even drink water that day. And they're like the happiest people on earth because they're just so grateful for what they have.
Yeah. It does. It puts it all into perspective.
It does.
It really does.
We need it every day.
I know.
We do really need that perspective all the time, and we rarely subject ourselves to it by choice. And most of the time, I think we're kind of flying under the radar of our own awareness of that. But like, we should regularly expose ourselves to other people who are way less fortunate. I'll put it that way.
Less fortunate
than we are. So that we can have the perspective to slow down and stop complaining so much.
Yeah.
You know?
Complaining or just wanting.
Wanting.
Yeah.
You know, whatever that is, whether it's material or, you know, physical, whatever. Like, I think this is, we got,
just keep going.
We got deep in this today. You know, I think to circle back here, we're so excited for you.
So excited.
We can't wait to have you back next year.
Yes.
And we'll do a year in recap. See
yes.
where you are.
Oh my gosh, that'll be amazing.
The full thing's released. The whole album's released. It'll be great to talk to you then again.
Yeah, it's gonna be so amazing. We're excited to see what happens, and we love that you're here in Nashville.
Yes, and thank you guys for having me.
Thank you so much for being here.
Of course.
I can't wait to be your 1,001 subscriber.
Hey, please do. Please do. We'll take it. And we'll post all your socials so people keep up with you and follow you and all that stuff. But thanks for being here today.
Thank you.
It was really fantastic. Look how I did that. Hey, but I'm bump.
Cut. No, I'm kidding.
Thanks for tuning in to the Vocal Lab podcast. Ready to join the top ranks of the music industry? Don't forget to follow and subscribe for more first-class conversations that make the extraordinary your new ordinary. Until next time, keep striving for your top note.